Imagine a man who can enter any building without opening a single door. A man who lived for months inside a toy store without anyone knowing. This is the true story of Jeffrey Manchester, the Roofman, of the most eccentric criminals in American history. Born in 1972, Jeffrey wasn't a typical criminal. He was a member of the U.S. Army Reserves, trained in discipline, tactics, and infiltration. But instead of serving his country, he used these elite skills to plan a series of impossible heists, easy targets, McDonald's. Not just one or two. He didn't want the burgers, but over 60 locations across the United States. He wanted the cash, and he had a signature move that baffled the FBI. At midnight, while the world slept, Jeffrey would climb. He would scale the walls of a McDonald's and reach the roof. Using a power drill, he would cut a perfect square, hole large enough for a man, but small enough to go unnoticed from the ground. He would wait 4 hours in the dark. When the morning shift arrived at 5 a.m., Jeffrey would drop down from the ceiling like a ghost, dressed in all black. He was a terrifying sight for the unsuspecting employees. Despite his weapon, Jeffrey was strangely polite. He would calmly guide the staff into the walk-in freezers, lock them inside, and apologize for the inconvenience. He never fired a shot. He was a professional, but no one is perfect. In the year 2000, a single forensic slip-up in North Carolina led the police to his door. Jeffrey Manchester was captured and sentenced to 45 years in prison. The Roofman era seemed to be over. 4 years into his sentence, Jeffrey proved that walls couldn't hold him. In June 2004, he vanished from Brown Creek Correctional Institution. He had hitched a ride underneath a delivery truck, disappearing into the summer heat. Where does a wanted fugitive go? Jeffrey chose the last place anyone would look. A Toys R Us store in Charlotte, North Carolina. He didn't just hide there. In the back of the store, behind massive stacks of bicycle boxers, Jeffrey built a secret apartment. He had a bed, a desk, and even a collection of toys. He lived in a world of plastic and cardboard, hidden in plain sight. When the lights went out and the employees went home, the store became his playground. Jeffrey would ride bicycles through the aisles, play with the latest gadgets, and eat snacks he borrowed from the nearby Circuit City. He wasn't just hiding, he was watching. Jeffrey installed baby monitors and cameras in the manager's office. He knew every schedule, every meeting, and every suspicious glance from the staff. He was the ghost in the machine. Soon, Jeffrey began to miss human connection. He took on a new identity, John. He started dating a local woman and even joined her church. To her, he was a kind, generous man who always had toys for her children. The toys he gave to his girlfriend's kids weren't bought. They were taxed from a secret kingdom. He was living a surreal, double life. A loving partner by day, and a fugitive living behind a toy shelf by night. The end came not from a brilliant detective, but from a box of cereal. During one of his night raids, Jeffrey left a fingerprint on a Cap'n Crunch box. When a suspicious employee found his hideout, they called the police. In January 2005, the Toys R Us was surrounded. Jeffrey tried to flee one last time, leading police on a chase through the very neighborhood where he had tried to start a new life. But this time, there were no roofs to hide on. The judge was not impressed by his creativity. Jeffrey was sent back to prison with even more years added to his sentence. The man who once had a kingdom of toys was now confined to a 6x9 concrete cell. Jeffrey Manchester remains in prison today, with a release date in late 2036. His story reminds us that reality is often stranger than fiction. For unseen reality I'm your host, and this was the legend of the Roofman.